Hello, it is Identify Different, hashtag 1850. Now, I'm going to be discussing something for those who are 18 or older. Yeah, 18 or older. And I'll put that on my title too. Anyway, to you, covens, you secret societies who choose to practice sex rituals to gain someone else's energy, essence, likeness. Kind of like the movie, is it Snow White? And then, you know, those witch movies. So, who's the fairest of them all in the mirror? I think it was a movie called Snow White, and she wanted someone else's energy so she can look pretty. But in the end, after the person won her energy back, she went back to herself, which was not so cool. But anyway, now, if there's a law for spitting on someone, you can be arrested for that because that's bodily fluids, and you could have a disease that could potentially make someone sick, if not unalive them, just by spitting on them and not knowing that you may be a carrier of something that they are also potentially a carrier of. And then when that saliva gets on them or in them, it activates that disease. Because it is a part of your bodily fluids. We don't know what you have. Isn't that what how, for the most part, HIV is spreaded? So where these people that I know, this is my personal experience, that are among each other having menage a trois, sleeping with young people. And when I say young, even 21, 20 is young. They have their whole life ahead of them. But because of the manipulation and maybe their economic dynamic or family dynamic, and no one there to teach them, show them love, show them that it's not all about getting your fingernails done, getting your hair done. You're beautiful without all of that. Your inside your mind needs to be beautiful. Your heart needs to be beautiful, so that darkness, like the scripture says, the enemy, a foe, a slithering snake, who means you no good, but is hot in between their legs and wanting what you have, will slip into your home as they did mine and take over. And because the Bible also says that sex is sacred between a husband and a wife, Or, well, they say they're husband and wife. Because, some people don't go to the courthouse. They gather up their friends and they announce their allegiance to one another before friends, as it is written, right? And they become one, a family, a unit. I'm not saying I was perfect, but when you commit adultery, or you go out here just doing, all kind of nefarious things with your body, something is bound to happen, for it is written, it tells you that. And if we really stop and look at it, women, you have a hole that collects, that carries a whole human being. And then for us to not say our temple, and you men folk too, you need to recognize that your body is your temple. If you mess around and get something that does not readily alert you at a decent time, it could be detrimental to your sperm count, to your erectile function, and to your bloodstream. And that's for all, male or female. It could do something to cause vaginal dysfunction as well, not to mention a disease that you cannot cure. Now, an ex of mine who was sent to try to give me an incurable STD called HIV that I do not have. And that is also by the grace and mercy of Elohim, my creator. And we were dating. It was supposed to be exclusive, but he was a busybody, something that I was unaware of. But the people that sent him to me, the ones that I knew as family, sent him to me to try to harm me in more ways than one, to try to obsolete me, as a matter of fact. But yet, on the 29th of July, 2025, I am still here by the grace and mercy of God. Now, for those of us who have experienced sex, there are fluids being exchanged. And for people to just be in and out of every and anything, in my opinion, that does not set well with me. No, it doesn't, right? Because it's just not right. It's very, in a sense, it's very filthy, to say the least. Yeah. Especially this particular ex-partner, since his main appetite is male body parts, unbeknownst to me. And as we know that, they are very much more susceptible to contracting HIV, medically statistically known. Not just me saying that. It's known. And it's also written. There's something written in the Bible about that. In different books. Leviticus. I believe it's Mark, or it could be Matthew, where it says, men in the time that we are in now. And when I say men, he's saying mankind, male and female, would turn away from natural affection. Natural affection. The heart will become callous. I got two people that just pulled up beside me, so I'm just watching, Anyway, I don't really care what one does in their bedroom unless we are supposed to be an item and you're outside doing other things, then that is very much a problem. And unbeknownst to me, my ex-husband, he was also a hoe. But thank God I didn't catch HPV, because I do believe, God rest her soul, the beautiful Henrietta Lacks, or Lucille Pleasant, her original name. I don't know how her name got changed. But people like doing what they want to do so that they can get away with what they intend to do, their intentions. That's what motive. What is the motive, right? Of a name change, or having plastic surgery without it being medically necessary. So, anyway, we know that sex can get messy. So, with this group, within their coven of witches and warlocks, they are intriguing one another with their counterparts. And so, this ex of mine, who is in a coven, has infected some of them, but some of them probably already had it, since that's what they do. They sleep around to inherit people's energy. Which is ludicrous to me, when it is also written the sicknesses and the diseases behind disobedience, where God could have really struck me and gave me what this person intended for me, but he spared me because I was in disobedience. I was in my lower self, because he's really not anyone that I would have been interested in. But then he cloaked himself, and the family was also doing spell work to ensure that this relationship would happen. And so, like I say, by the grace and mercy of God, it didn't come to me. But their whole plan was, because my ancestors had something for me, a tangible inheritance that they wanted, their idea in their head was that if they could give me that disease that they purposely wanted to give me, then once I find out in this season here, like I'm finding out, my family hated me. They want me deceased. they do not want to give me back what rightfully belongs to me. They want to live off of it, and they want me to go away because of the crimes that they have committed. But they almost have to know that there is an investigation going on. So whatever you have done, everything that you have done, I'm really not privy to yet. But what I do know is that with Henrietta Lack's situation, where it is said that, her husband gave Elsie was born with syphilis, and that's what she had idiocy, really, idiocy. I mean, people, did y'all look at the picture of the pretty little girl? Both pictures, she does not look like she has idiocy. I believe the adults had idiocy or selfishness along with it. Or maybe they did not catch that syphilis, if that is true. And it acted like rabies and did something to the functioning of the brain. I don't know, with the Tuskegee experiment, I believe syphilis can mess with the brain just like any other disease. I mean, if you get a disease, it's going to mess with your normal functionings, right? So that's why I'm trying to figure out why this group think that you can just go randomly pick up people off the street or amongst your covenant group, have sex and think that you're going to steal from me now that I am aware of what you are doing. The Most High has made it painfully aware what you are doing. And no, you cannot have my energy. You cannot have my destiny. You cannot have anything that belongs to me. I renounce, cancel, rebuke all of you. And I call it all back to me. And may the Most High cloak me with the highest white light, impenetrable, that you cannot enter in and execute my contract while you're trying to enter in illegally. Now, not to mention all the other, STDs that are out here, probably some I don't even know about. I mean, sex is supposed to be pleasurable, but it can be filthy depending on who you are indulging with. And in my opinion, HPV, I believe that comes from too much of external different partners. Or you previously had a very bad STD, or you're currently with a STD. Like it was said, her husband had, gave her syphilis and she conceived and the baby, quote unquote, came out with idiocy. A different name from what I believe it is called, if there is what we know as retardation or mongoloid, something going on with the brain not functioning as normal as it should, and the person may need help, so they are dependent on someone else. But on those pictures that are shown, Henrietta Lack's child, that looks like she was just implanted in that family, because Henrietta was not here. And I don't really know who Mr. Day is, but apparently he was out there doing what he do, because, I mean, how you bring syphilis home if Elsie was the second child? How you bring syphilis home? That means you was out there being a rolling stone or something. I don't know. But something ain't right with that. Anyway, it just looks like, because in some cases when I was reading, it was saying that she was the firstborn, but she was actually the firstborn daughter, I guess it's saying. Anyway, I know that things can be covered up, written up, how those who were in control of things, however they see fit. And with my family dynamic, wanting to keep secrets of how a child was conceived is lunacy. That's idiocy, right? Because you are full of rage and hate for a child that you laid down, and I guess you had pleasure doing what you were doing. But then the child is now your problem. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with you, right? Anyway, I'm just saying, with all these fluids, that's just straight up nasty for people to be in and out everywhere, and then want to lie on an innocent person, saying that they gave you something that I do not have. And then for you to have an appetite for males instead of a female, and then did not reveal that, or your HIV status. For many weeks, right, before it was revealed what you had. So, you know, you have to know your partner. Now, on a lighter note, I was watching the movie The Hustler. I like the actors on that movie, the ladies. It's kind of like what I'm saying when we're watching a movie, right? Some people can gaslight you, do some dirty things that really happen in real life that are arrestable. But yet, I did laugh at that movie. But after I laughed, I said, it's really not funny. And if there's youngsters, like Clueless, the movie Clueless, they were mean and cruel for no good reason. They had their little clique, right? Something like what's going on right now. For no good reason. Selfishness, greediness. Someone who is not a part of criminality, wants no part of that. So you say, okay, we got to get rid of her. Or, like, a former boss, because I don't want anything to do with her, and because she was eavesdropping from my phone and having cameras in my home, and in my conversations at home with my family members before I knew they also were in cahoots with her. um, I would say, like, don't nobody want to be friends with her. I mean, she talk about everybody. So if she's doing this, she's certainly talking about me, and I just don't like her energy. And so yet she got mad about that because she thought she was supposed to be my quote unquote handler. Excuse please. I'm a grown woman, and I don't need a handler. What I need is for other grown people to mind your business. Because when you start overstepping into someone else's business, you should be careful what you might hear. And then further, that is also against the law. I'm not a part of your initiation to get into a secret society or a group, sort of like college when they have this hazing, or you have to be initiated to get in their sorority, and then someone may end up losing their life behind their stupid prank or gesture for them to get into a group where everybody just walk around like it's supposed to be quote unquote normal, but sometimes they're not normal. They're very wicked people, and you have to jump through hoops to get into this particular group. I'm my own person. Either I could come and pay to see what you have to offer, before I pay, see what you have to offer. And like a movie, okay, if you're speaking on something that may spike my interest, then I will pay to come in. But all this hazing, because that's what it is, that's what you're trying to make me become, a hazed prey, because you want to handle somebody else that's fully grown, capable of thinking for self, and able to do for self if you just stop interrupting and stop putting blockers in the way. That is against the law too. To follow, stop, track, and pinch somebody's social security number to know what they are doing ahead of time. Like, if God forbid, if I was trying to get a loan and there you go, oh, she's trying to do this, well, I'm going to stop it. That's against the law. You are infringing in my rights. I believe that happened way back when, right? With the redlining, where different areas and communities were deemed unsafe, so therefore the poor could not get home ownership, home loans to purchase the home that they felt comfortable in. The creating of man-made ghettos. Then you brought in crack, and then it just destroyed families, kids, children were out on the street trying to survive. And yet, in our society today, it is trying to be done to me, making me sleep in a car, putting an illegal eviction on my record. So it will be difficult for me to find or rent a place. And then with you pinging my social security number and then trying to smear my character by lies. Lies in a group of many who is already defeated. But yet, because more than one is saying the same thing, but yet you're still telling a lie, some people cannot think for themselves. And behind this thing that you all have done, I'm hoping that society will then begin to think or investigate a little bit deeper. Investigate the one who sucked jaw muscles, ran off like diarrhea about another individual. Look at everybody. Look at the person you spoke on and you too. Because that's what you should do, right? Because we have some jealous people, and females are best at jealousy. Why? Well, maybe because they say that there's a shortage in men. I don't know. Well, one thing's for certain. If y'all keep up with your doing, with all this sleeping around, indulging with nasty body fluids, it's going to be a shortage of you all, which that might not be a bad idea because of the things that you operate in and want to see happen for another so that you can gain, but yet you're sick. You're sick mentally and physically. And yet you go around destroying people, whole people, people who love themselves. You watch and you stalk, you people stalk, watch, and say, oh, they're so happy. I want that. Well, if you stop minding other people's business and speak to the creator who created you and gave you free will, and a lot of you say you don't like the Bible because it's doctored up. Yeah, that could be. And yeah, I concur with some things. But clearly, there's no mistaking when he said, walk in the light, not the darkness. It will go well for you. So there's no misunderstanding with if you do wrong, it might not go well for you. It might even shorten your days. If you do the opposite of what he said about the different plagues that could come upon your body, and yet you still continue to do what you do, and you wonder why, but then, I know my diabolical brother was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get myself fixed when I get my money. His hopes was to, I guess, go to another country to try to fix his HIV. Because this is the parallel to this. He knows the one that he sent to me because they both were sleeping together, probably before me, because they knew one another. So who knows who gave who HIV, but their hopes was to get the money, steal money, and fix their HIV. Now, some of them did successfully steal, but you still got the HIV. So what is that telling you? God don't like your darkness and how you're making your money, how you're annihilating whole people. They might not know the Creator, or they might not be being obedient to the Creator, but you're still preying on people of substance, spiritually and tangibly. So you think that you can just continue to steal, kill, and destroy, and that is your MO for your survival on this earth. You've been watching too much of Viking. That century has ended. Uh, yeah, that's not going on anymore. AI has stopped that. I know that Starlink is supposed to be satellite, but I believe it acts as an eye too, right? If you can develop Starlink, like this Neuralink that's in my eye, right? I'm sure it sees things other than giving people internet. Because I'll say it again, there is somebody that watches every detail, I believe, of everybody's life. But they sit back quietly until they're ready to cause havoc. So I encourage people to not be doing things that you know are illegal. Or just doing things that are not cool, because most definitely the creator is watching. I mean, it is so elaborate for, drug dealers and things, but I think like this. This is how I think. I'm selling you something that I know is killing you, that is destroying, if you have a family, it's destroying your career, your life, and I'm living lavish for a spell. But as my memory served me, drug dealers that I knew, their life ended tragically. So when it says in the Bible, whatsoever a man soweth, that they shall also reap. How does that register in your mind? How does that register to you? What does that mean exactly? Does that mean, so you made money, you lived this lavish life by killing and destroying people? Now that the season, because there are seasons, he said, be ready for when famine comes, right? There will be some that will be pregnant, and I can't remember about the pregnant. Well, it's something very harsh. If if the person, is stuck in the rigmarole. But anyway, what I do know is Yeshua walked in the light. He didn't harm people. He tried to steer your mind and heart in the right direction. But yet he was hated by many, not all, and that many decided to harm him, red rum him. And all he was doing was helping the society in which he lived, the communities he visited. He made known to the house of the Lord that it is the house of prayer and not a den of thieves. Like, if a church is taking up offering, yes, the man of God or woman of God, they should get a paycheck, of course. But you're also supposed to be pillars of the community. Now, churches on every corner, and in some areas where it's more destitute, there's liquor stores. There'll be a church, then there's a liquor store. Church, church, liquor store. We see that, right? So it is the church, the people of the Most High, who are supposed to be exemplifiers of Him and help uprightly, not be greedy for things. I mean, He said, what does it profit you to dress yourself up, but yet your soul is a mess? And some people really, really do harp on their appearances. And don't get me wrong, your appearance is everything. I mean, at least be clean, my God. Or I try to be as clean as possible living in this car, right? I know that this is not my final destination. But at the same token, the ones who have socially engineered me into this space, why did you do it? And why don't you want to make this right? And then when I'm speaking, not maybe on a video, but I'm in my car speaking to the Most High, and He's giving me downloads about what is going on that others may not see. Then you get mad and you want to retaliate, but yet you're interfering with my freedom to come out of a woman's womb, to be a grown lady now, and to live. And some of you that quote unquote trying to handle me, do you not have your own family? Well, take care of that. Is that not also written when you get married, or if you're in a relationship, or if you have a business? Pay attention to that. That is your business. Somebody else trying to live and get their business established, or is doing the right thing and not bothering you, or breaking the law, or being a community rascal or knucklehead, or a societal murderous spirit or person. Why are you all up in their business trying to block them, stop them, and stop them? And then on top of that, try to take their residuals from their YouTube channel, their social media channel, which is free to all to join YouTube. But because we have diabolical demons who think that they run the show and that you can just shadow ban anyone at will, that is against the law. That is discrimination. That is a hate crime. That is a hate crime. What is your reason behind you not allowing my videos to go through the algorithm or be monetized? Right? What is your reasoning behind that? You're trying to socially engineer me to be poor, broke. I believe it is you that is broke in spirit, even though you may have a lot of money in the bank, but you are definitely poor. If you can sit up here and watch a person all day that you cannot defeat, because the favor of Elohim is with me, At the end of the day, it will be Him, the Creator, who will decide whether I live or die, whether I move forward or not. Because if you don't get out of the way, I am confident that the Most High will allow my ancestors to avenge me of this atrocity. I did not come into this world to be enslaved. I did not sign your contract for your MK Ultra. I did not sign anyone's contract other than when I signed the application for employment. And I'm not employed right now, so I'm not under anyone's contract. And even still, there are rules of engagement then. There's policies and rules. While at your establishment working, I am to obey your written rules and policies, and so are you. Then outside of that, I go home to my home and you do the same, and then it should end there. But no, we have some people who want to intrusively invade your space and try to rule over you. That is against the law. I am not a dependent. I am very independent. I don't need for you to do that. And I would like for you to stop. And I would like for the universe to pass the highest judgment, the Creator, my ancestors, to do the same, my angels. You don't have a right to try to take rule over someone's will. Again, when you're reading the Bible, it is telling a story. So if you insert yourself in there, by no means did he say go out and kill your brethren so that you can rise to the top. Now, let me see. Let me redact that. There was some wars, and the army was smaller than the people that they were coming up against. So the Most High said, wait, and I will tell you when to go in. That way it will ensure a victory for you. So I redact that because he will allow certain things to go on. And this is also something that he is in approving of. He also is a rewarder. So I know this is not my final destiny. I'm not out here, even in my worst state, out here causing havoc. I will return to you what you have already sent to me, and in the upright. Okay? And that's what people need to know. You can forgive someone, and you still can ask the Most High to avenge you of it. And then when you see that you have forgiven them, but yet you have a demon that just keep coming. And some people are going to see that video where I say, Abiyah, can you, right, oh yeah, I meant that. Because at some point, something needs to end. There needs to be a resolution. Jezebel in the Bible, you've seen her in. Goliath, Samson. Samson was loved by the Creator, but Samson sacrificed himself to get rid of those people who were ultimately like you in what Psalms 37 mentioned. You spy. You come to take claim in deceiving someone as a friend, but you're a foe. And then once you get what you got, you think, okay, I'm going to entrap them and ultimately obsolete them. So Samson, the vision that I get from that story is he knew what his parents said. Delilah was not a part of his tribe. Leave her alone. He did not listen. He knew his position within their confound where he was chained up. And he knew because of his disobedience that he made a right decision, in my opinion, to get rid of those kind that prey upon other people's abilities that they see in them, and that because they're so jealous and they want what they have, or they just want to know what was the whole point. If Samson was strong or whatever, why not befriend him and say, oh, I know a man who could help me out. I know a man who could do this for me. No. They wanted him in chains. Like you're doing right here. You don't want me to have anything. So, and I have prayed for you all to stop. And if the Most High sees that you will have a change of heart, to have mercy. So, I have done my part. I have even asked, and you're not even brothering. See, so there's specific things to be noted. A brethren would not be doing what you all are doing. And then anything outside of a brethren could not even enter the confounds in which Yeshua surrounded himself. They had to be outside the gates. So people, never get it twisted. If you want to pray and ask the Most High to get rid of your enemy or your foe who just will not stop after you have pleaded, asked, prayed, fast, and even still, he said the fasting is not even that. Ask of me to avenge you of your enemies. Go read the story about King David and Goliath. He said, Abiyah, if you give me the strength in this slingshot to slay Goliath, so moan it be. So if the Creator sees all, knows all, then he knows there is a desperate situation right here going on. All of you, depraved in your mind, with idiocy, greedy, unnatural affection, after one person, and you think that I feel any type of way when I came on my channel to your face and asked the Most High to get rid of you. Again, I found out that my family hated me in 2022, late 2022, going into 2023. and we are in 2025, and they socially engineered me to be in this condition by stealing something from me, I don't feel any type of way for asking the Most High to take your life or pass the judgment, whether it's going to be me leave here as you all want, or which one of us needs to go. Who is doing the most damage on the earth? So anyway, people, you can pray. You can give them an opportunity to change. But, no, not but, however, make sure you don't put it at the detriment of yourself. Now, because there were some things that I needed to learn about a situation, and now that I know enough that a mother figure trying to be me, trying to take from me and unalive me, and then her children, and then their friends, and then exes of mine, and then their friends, practitioners they hired to do spell work on me. Okay, so once you pray, what time is it now? When does it stop? Am I supposed to stay in this car and just say, oh, please, Abia, please help my enemies to like me? We've already done that. I have things that I would like to achieve. You're in my way. I didn't ask you to be here. I am asking Abia to move you out of the way so you can volunteer to stop. Or I call righteous judgment. I command the universe to make this right. And I affectionately, with my heart, ask the Most High to get rid of you however He sees fit. However, I do plainly say permanently. Okay? If you do not know how to stop and mind your own business. So let's not be crazy, people. You sit up here and at your own detriment let someone keep stumping and trampling over you and find yourself in a pit that they are digging for you. Period. Because at some point, something has to stop. So, my life is not like that cartoon, the Road Runner. You are not going to keep getting back up and getting back up and thinking that I'm going to stay in this situation until you possibly succeed. I don't think so. So I'm going to cry out like the widowed lady or the lady of Samaria. Abia, please make changes. Let this bitter cup pass from me. It's not mine to bear. My ancestors may have made contracts before my time, but I renounce them. I cancel them. They are not my bitter cup to bear. I'm not walking in disobedience. I'm not trying to hurt another human being. I am also not trying to be hurt by another human being when I don't deserve it. So anyway, good night.